They told me for years there was no money in podcasting. Well, they were all wrong.
What do you think of the current state of Hollywood?
I am somebody who I understand people that aren't big fans of the studio system in today's day and age. I can understand people's frustrations, but I can't sit up here and say like, oh, like big studio movies are ruining Hollywood and this and that, because I'm somebody who likes superhero movies. I like comic book films that come out. I like some of the big films that are anticipated. I look forward to blockbuster season and all that fun stuff. And I enjoy a majority of the films that come out. I'm somebody who's known to being Mr. Positive a lot, but sometimes I'll try to review films negatively, but I am somebody who can understand when studio films come out and it's taking over things. But at the same time, when people are clamoring for new stuff, you got to go out and see the new stuff.
You got to find it.
You got to find it.
You got to find
exactly.
it.
And you got to be able to go out and see it and watch it and enjoy it. Like, there are original movies out there. Like, for a perfect example, the one that everyone's talking about now that gives, I think, theaters hope, studios hope, and people that love indie films hope, Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's the film that is the talk of the town in terms of indie films. It's made, I believe, over $50 million over the course of like a month and a half. It's still in the top 5 this weekend. It's probably going to stay in the top 5, only dropping like 6%. And it was an A24 film made with little money, and it's one of the most creative films. I enjoy Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but Everything Everywhere All at Once is the better multiversal film. The way that they're able to incorporate the multiverse and the concept of it, making it a fun family film, enjoyable, it's action-packed, it's funny, it's quirky as hell. I mean, there's some goofy stuff in here that you don't think it'll work, but the Daniels, who are the directors of this, are able to make it work. And it's wildly entertaining. The way that they were able to do this on like a very low budget is mesmerizing. If you read some of the stories of, they only had like 5 people on visual effects, and when you look at the visual effects on here, you would think it's maybe a $50-40 million budget, not even close to that.
Pennies.
It's pennies on the dollar. And so that is one of the films that gives people hope for what you can see in theaters. But again, for me, I want to see original films. When original films come out, I am all for seeing them. But I'm not going to sit up here and say, studio films are the death of cinema or the death of movies, because for a majority of them, a lot of them are good. There are some that are awful and some that are bad, and you don't know why studios make them. They just make them for money.
Yep.
Like, for example, Morbius. Awful movie.
I've heard.
Awful movie.
Yeah.
You don't understand why they made it. Well, it's understandable because the last two Venom movies made a lot of money, and they wanted to make this one. But still, awful movie. You don't know why they made it. But then you look at the MCU. And yes, some of the films maybe don't work better than others, but there are some great films like Captain America the Winter Soldier, the Avengers movies for the most part, Thor Ragnarok. We're about to get Thor Love and Thunder, Guardians. I just think that the state of Hollywood today is in a way of where it's dominated by comic book movies, but studios are in demand for it right now because that's the thing that's making the most money right now. Exactly. And they need to stay afloat right now. And I think that, especially because of the pandemic, as long as they are the lifeblood of this, you're going to get all these other films to come out. Like, to me, one that I'm very much looking forward to that's an original film, Don't Worry Darling, or I think it's Don't Worry Me Darling or Don't Worry Darling from Olivia Wilde. That's a completely new original film that I'm hoping when it comes out in September, people go see, because you don't get director-driven films like that a whole lot. You maybe get a Nolan film every once in a while that gets the kind of money that he's able to get, or a Tarantino movie. But if you don't go see those films like you do comic book movies or like you do these big budget films, studios are going to be like, all right, we're not going to put all this money into it because that's not where the money's going. And they're focused on streaming nowadays too, and that's their lifeline as well. So it's very much at an intercepting point where the streaming and theaters are going to try to, or have to kind of coexist today, and studios need to try to figure out a way to get more original films in there, but they're not going to drive away from the thing that's making them the most money right now.
Yeah. Definitely no. I'm not gonna hate on comic book movies. I don't see most of them. I love Spider-Man. I'll never miss a Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
No Way Home was just
so good.
It was the best Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Since Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And I love Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 is
great.
But
Spider-Man 2 still is my favorite, just because I'm that kind of old guy with the stickler. Mine was better. I am that guy. But if someone told me that No Way Home was better, I'm not gonna be like, "Fuck you, you're wrong." I'm gonna be like,
yeah.
It's a great movie.
It is, yeah.
I mean, but I'm not gonna see Multiverse. Just don't care.
Oh yeah.
But like you said, they make the most monies, and the studio is clinging on to what's going to keep them alive.
Yeah.
So do theaters.
Yeah.
Now they could do a better chance of marketing these movies, like The Last Duel.
Yeah.
I believe was a giant flop,
a huge flop,
which was relatively a new story.
Yeah.
And a period piece, huge budget.
Yeah.
But
Big stars.
But from what I've heard from people, this wasn't marketed or sold to people. But
Yeah.
to your point, the people who are complaining about movies not being made are the ones who aren't going to see these movies once they are actually made.
Yeah.
Like, there's no actual problem with Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like, the movies are being made. Are they original?
Yeah.
You know, my two friends loved The Northman.
Yeah. That's another one.
They praised it as like one of the best movies I've ever seen. I saw it. I was just like, eh.
Yeah, and it's people preferences too. Like, people are gonna like it, people are not gonna like it. But as long as you give it a try, or like if you want to go see it, like there are movies out there to go do it with. And like The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is another one.
Yeah.
Where it's a fun. It's not a great movie, but it's a fun, entertaining film with Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal.
Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage.
Exactly.
I want to go see that.
It's so funny. It's so good. Like it's got a really good story to it. But yeah, it's just these films are being made. It's just that not a lot of people are seeing them, and that's why these things are going to streaming more so than they're going to theaters, because they can profit off of subscribers and eyeballs more on that, and they say, well, we don't have to recoup the money off of that. As long as we get subscribers and we're able to get money off of that, we'll be fine.
I would much rather. I love seeing The Northman in theaters.
Yeah.
First, like, I don't want this knock The Northman. Northman was a great movie, but I had very high expectations. My thought was, oh, it's just like Gladiator with Vikings.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it wasn't anything super original. However, the main thing that impressed me, which I never see in movies or TV, it was very early on. You saw the film?
Yeah.
So it's very early on, like when the king comes back, right? And they're in the hall and they drink the blood or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the lighting, where like the room actually looked like it was shot.
Yeah.
Lit by firelight.
Yeah. Yep.
That was something that was super impressive to me, because you never see that. You know, like the sound editing and like the way the film was colored.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was a visual, brilliant, gorgeous masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like, the action scenes, phenomenal. Choreography, phenomenal. Acting, great.
Yeah.
It's just the story and the writing where it's very, I've seen it before.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
very, very
but
generic.
Overall, the movie was great. And
Yeah.
I hope it did well, because those kind of movies in Hollywood are being made.
Yeah, they are.
I think the disconnect in Hollywood is the Academy.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Hollywood, Hollywood itself.
Yeah.
The movies being made. There's nothing wrong with them. Yeah, some of them aren't original, but that's just Hollywood. There's only so many movies you can make.
Yeah.
Now you can bitch and moan about like the Matrix 4 and how that shouldn't have been made. I enjoyed the Matrix 4.
Yeah, it was enjoyable.
But you can like, and remaking movies, like, yeah, that's true. That's a problem.
Yeah.
But the big disconnect between audiences in Hollywood is the Academy.